I know that if you guys are anything like me, you've sat down and gone down the rabbit hole and watched what feels like hundreds of haul videos of supplies that people are buying for their homeschooling, and you're adding to cart or writing down on a list. It just gave me the idea of making a video of things that we've bought for our homeschool that we actually use time and time again, weekly. My kids are constantly pulling. Hi everyone, this is Iraida from Adventure and Wonder. If you're new here, I have a preschooler and a almost 2-year-old that's tagging along for the ride. These things that I'm showing you guys today, I think for us have been 100% worth it, just because they've been loved. Now, my kids are really young. Last year we homeschooled very lightly, some early preschool stuff. And this year we are full-time homeschooling, sitting down, doing full curriculums weekly. So these things are going to be geared towards those early learners, preschool, kindergarten age kids. As always, everything will be linked down below and everything will be timestamped, so you don't have to worry if you don't want to watch the whole thing. And if you're interested in any of this, I will link everything I can down below. We're gonna start with some learning aids. What triggered this video: the Alphabet Acorns by Learning Resources. I bought this at the beginning of the year. I have a haul video when I bought this, thinking we might use it, it would be fun. We use this weekly. My daughter asks to constantly pull this, and I feel like she knows a lot of her letters because she keeps reviewing them with these. This is something we do together. This is not a game that I just give her to just go off on her own. I'll just go ahead and show you. The outside has the capital uppercase letter. The lid inside has the lowercase letter. And every acorn inside has a little item, a little object that you can put inside that starts with that letter. So how we do it is I take out all the things from inside and just put the acorns and the lids, all the acorns together and all the lids together, and she just has to match the uppercase and lowercase. So once she matches all of them, she kind of puts them like this with the lid facing up like this. Once she matches all of them, I hand her the items one by one, and we talk about what it is, what sound does it start with, and she has to find the letter that makes that sound. So she puts it inside, we close the acorn, and we put it back in. That's how kind of we review our letters. She absolutely loves this. I can't recommend this game enough. If you have learners that are kind of getting into learning their letters and letter sounds, uppercase and lowercase, at least in this household, this has been invaluable. Something else that has really sparked a lot of conversations, stuff that it's nice to talk about, but things don't usually just come up in conversation like that without being prompted, are these flashcards by Evu. If you've been following us, part of the curriculum we're doing this year is Torchlight, and Torchlight pre-K calls for the I Heard Your Feelings cards. We were loving these so much. We usually do one a week. I just went down the rabbit hole and they have so many cards. We are for sure going to be doing some of these cards for next year, like other sets, but I added the Good Manners card. These two packs have been really, really good. It's just basic, like good manners, being polite, and these are just a lot of emotional intelligence. So this one shows a picture, and in the back it has some questions that us reading lessons would ask the kids. Is like, does Rabbit like the gift from Pig? How do you know? How does Pig feel? What should Rabbit do? Why does Pig care about Rabbit's reaction? And we just kind of talk about all these things. It's a good conversation to have, and not liking a gift that somebody gives you, it's totally normal, and I feel like as a kid, this is something very relevant. So this is just one of the examples. There's a lot of examples, kind of people teasing each other, not being nice, or including or celebrating, or wanting a parent to go and carry them up and throw them in the air over and over again, and Just stuff like that. That's very relevant to their age, but little things that might not come up in conversation. The good manners cards, it's very similar. Picture like this. This one says, what do you do when someone is talking to you? And then show the picture, and it's somebody talking, somebody listen, and it says, listen respectfully and don't interrupt. And these things kind of start really good, thoughtful, deep conversations. With my son is a little young, but he likes to like talk about pig and all the animals too, but especially with my daughter, these lead to some very good in-depth conversations and talking about feelings and about manners and things that it wouldn't really come up in a conversation unless it's like too late and you're stuck in an awkward situation, which is not the time to teach them anything. So highly recommend these cards. We're definitely going to do some others for next year because we're almost done with these. Another learning aid. This time we're jumping to the arts and music. We are doing Blossom and Root Early Years, the composer study and the artist study. And when we study a composer, we will listen to their music. These have been amazing. We studied like classical composers. We've studied Mozart. We're studying Vivaldi right now. We've studied more jazz, Florence Price. We've studied like Hawaiian music with Israel. These are so versatile. Anytime I get the picture of the composer out, I'll talk to them about who it is we're going to be listening to music by, and I just play music on my phone, and I give 2 of these to each of my kids, and we go to town dancing. If it's a fast song, you can just get the 2 scarves and go fast with the tempo. If it's slow, you put them slow, and we talk about, is it slow? Is it fast? Is it happy music? Is it sad music? Are you scared? We talk about with the movement of the scarves, so it's an easy visual. My daughter is all into ballet, so she'll ballerina her way into all the music. So these have been so good and so fun. They get my kids so involved, actively listening to the music and moving their bodies. And I think this is one of the reasons that composer studies is one of their favorite things, because they get to dance with the scarves. Okay, now I'm going to move a little bit into math manipulatives. I feel like when we are doing Singapore math dimensions, and when I saw the list of all the materials, I was so overwhelmed. I went into all the groups. I went digging deep. Like, what do you actually need? Like, what is useful? It might be different for every program, because every program kind of has their own method and their own things. But so far, we're a little bit over half the year. These are the manipulatives that we've just kept coming back to time and time again. There's other stuff that we've used here and there, but I feel like we could have done without. These are the ones that we just constantly use. The first ones that we use, I feel like every early learner needs to have these if you're doing math. They're the math cubes. These are the ones we got at the beginning of the year. They love these. My daughter also watches number blocks, so she calls these her number blocks. If we have to get them out, she's like, are we playing with the number blocks? But these have been very, very good, from colors to stacking to the numbers, like stack X amount of these blocks, to patterns. We use these to make patterns. These have many uses. I feel like if you have a preschooler, there's so many ways you can use them. The other math manipulative that we just keep going back to again and again, and this was such an impulse buy and so inexpensive. These were from Dollar Tree. These little frames, they have the 10, the 100, and the singles. We're not at the, well, we are discussing 10, but we're not really using these rods yet. But these single ones, we use almost in every lesson because we use them as counters. I was looking for something small enough to fit in the 5 frame and the 10 frame If you're not familiar with what a 5 frame and a 10 frame, let me go get one. Okay, so this is the 5 frame, and now we're onto the 10 frame. But I wanted something small enough that she could place one on each of the frames. And I wanted them all to be the same, because if they're a little different, I didn't want any confusion. So I wanted all counters to be the same. These have been great. So honestly, anything that you can find that's small, that you have a lot of them, and that they're all the same, they would work great as counters. Another thing from Dollar Tree that I've had forever, but this year we've used them weekly. I put some in my board up here, and I have the ones that we've done separated. So talking about flashcards, letter flashcards, and number flashcards. For the numbers, we do some games that go along with the curriculum. Instead of printing out the sheets and laminating them, I just use flashcards and put them around the room and do all the games with the flashcards. And with the letters, I put every letter of the week, I put them up here in our bulletin board, and she kind of knows. And when she gets to the schoolroom, she's like, "Ooh, a new letter," and she'll look at it. And the ones that we've done, I have them separated so I don't lose track. So when we're doing other games, I know which letters to pick so she can do, because I don't want to give her letters that we haven't covered yet. So that's kind of how I keep track with it. Flashcards, inexpensive, they love them. There's so many games that you can play with the flashcards. So useful. So definitely get flashcards. Dollar Tree, Target Dollar Spot. Like there's flashcards everywhere. The inexpensive ones work amazing. You've noticed these little containers, I keep everything in little containers so they don't mix. Some of these are from Dollar Tree. I think these are from Target. Wherever you can find little containers, they're great to store things. Moving on to supplies. What supplies have we just used over and over that have been really worth the money for a preschooler? So the first thing that I'm going to talk about is these Ticonderoga pencils. They are, if you can see here, they are triangular, and it's not that we've used this a lot. Well, we have, but it's not little ones. They come this little. They're short, so they help with the grasp. So they're not holding it up here while they're trying to write. It helps hold it properly. And the triangle also helps with their triangle grasp, so they have a good hold on their pencils. And I feel like this brand is just really, really good. It doesn't really break. These have been very useful. So if you have a young learner learning to write, learning how to hold their pencil, highly recommend these. On the same vein of type of kind of helping with their grip and all that stuff, it's these Sproutlings crayons. I'm going to take one out so you can see. These are new. We have another pack that they don't look as good. But these are pretty new. So they are these little stubby crayons, and they're also triangular. They're great for, again, the same thing as a pencil, helping with the grip. They won't break, in my experience. The normal skinny crayons, when they're starting to learn how to color or write or whatever you're doing with them, they break so easily because they're putting too much force. They don't really know yet how to grab it, and they are constantly snapping them. These don't break ever. So my 1-year-old loves to go use this. My daughter's been using these forever, and right now she uses them a lot to trace big letters. Before she goes in and does little letters with the pencil, I'll have her go in with a crayon and do a big one with these. So these are so easy for her to grasp. She's not really worried about the grasp in here. She's more worried about the letter when she's doing them with these, and then she'll do them with the pencil. In co-ops, I take these. All the kids really, really like these because they're not frustrating. They're not breaking on them all the time. And they're easy to hold. The next item, these scissors have been so good. These were the first ones that we use. These have a little spring here in the middle where the scissor kind of opens by itself. For kids that are starting to cut, these are great. They just focus on closing them. The scissors kind of open back up by themselves, so they don't have to worry about the down and up. So kind of learning one motion at a time. They're also blunt here, so great for kids, but they're metal. I find that the plastic kid-safe scissors, they're really frustrating for the kids, at least in my experience. My kids get really frustrated because they kind of chew the paper and they don't really cut it. These are really good in cutting them, but they're not gonna get hurt. Obviously, this is something to do with supervision. Now we've kind of graduated into these scissors to start working on the opening, because she has the down and she can cut. She's been cutting for a while, so now she uses these. They're a little bit more sharp than these, like kind of like both of the points. This is a little bit rounder and this is a little bit more sharp, but still not really sharp. Perfect for their tiny hands. And these are kind of good because they have the sleeve to kind of cover them, so when little brother comes around, he can't get to them. Another type of thing that I'm going to group in supplies that we've been using a lot is this pointer. We use this multiple times a week. We use this one of our workbooks. I don't have her write a lot because she's still really young and I know her hand isn't ready, it gets tired quickly. So she'll use this pointer to trace letters, to trace shapes, to circle things. We kind of do the whole workbook with her just using this. And it's been really good. I highly recommend. I feel like this is something, I have her write some things, but I feel like if your kid can't do a lot of writing, but because physically their hand is not there yet, but they are ready to learn all these things, have them not write. And then just they can point with their finger and do with their finger too, but I found that my daughter thinks this is the coolest thing and makes it a lot more interesting when she's using her pointer. She feels like it's important because she has a little pointer instead of just using her finger. So just a little tip. To go along with this, besides doing the workbook, we sing our ABCs every time we do our All About Reading pre-reading. If you know, I've talked about that we're not using like All About Reading says like uppercase, lowercase, and then sounds. We're doing all the letter kind of together in 1 week, so uppercase, lowercase, and sound. All About Reading like comes with a poster of all the letters of uppercase and all the letter lowercase. Since we're doing it together, I wanted a poster that had the uppercase and lowercase together, so this poster also gets used weekly. I went through so many posters to make sure, because the writing is sometimes iffy. This one is legible, it's good. It has both of the letters together, the colors were nice, and then we just kind of go and point. While we sing our ABCs, we point to the letter we're singing. We kind of sing it slowly, just so they're connecting the letter name with how the letter looks. Highly recommend getting like a little poster like this. Another thing we use weekly, and this is a little bit more expensive. I can insert a picture. It's our wooden calendar. I got this secondhand off of Facebook Marketplace. Paying you for this, it would be too much. I didn't know if we were gonna use it, so I didn't want to spend. And you can find them on Etsy, new, but it's like more than $100 new. I did repaint the colors of the week over here because we kind of do some Waldorf style, so every day has a specific color if you kind of follow Waldorf's method. So I repainted these, but this we use every day, and this not only has been helping with getting that passage of time of the week and all that stuff, but also with counting. Every time we are gonna put a new number, we count from 1 to whatever number we're in today, and we count one day in Spanish and the next day in English, so we're getting both practice. So any calendar, doesn't have to be this one. I love this one because it's wood, it's hardy. I think it will stand the test of time. It's really sturdy. It's small and it's aesthetically pleasing. It just looks nice. But any calendar that you can get and do it every day. We don't do it on weekends, really. Unless we do school on the weekends, we don't really do it. We do it every day we do school. And she really likes it. My son really likes it. My 1-year-old is counting because of this. So highly recommend doing some calendar work. I'm not expecting her to know the months or like memorizing anything. We're just working on our counting and just getting that concept of time passing by, that there's different days and yesterday was another day and tomorrow is another day, stuff like that. Not putting a lot of pressure. But this is another thing we love and we use almost daily. Another thing we're constantly using is this bag. I hauled it at the beginning of the year. This is gigantic. This is so big. Huge. But anytime we take our homeschool on the go, sometimes we go out of town and I still want to take our homeschool things and like go to my parents and do it. It holds so much. I take all of our curriculum, all our manipulatives, like our binders, I take everything. Pretty much all that we do in a week fits here. With all the pockets, I just fill them out and I have all the supplies and all the material I need for homeschool in this one bag. So I don't have to be searching all around and digging through different luggage and bags and whatever. I have them all here when we're homeschooling on the go. And when I have to pick up a really big library haul, I also take this just because it will carry the weight. It's like thick in the bottom. So this has also been good. If you go take homeschooling on the go, if you are library obsessed like us, worth the buy. This is kind of like a mama supply over here, but I feel like every homeschooler would say it, and I got it just because it was recommended so much that I was like, I'm probably gonna use it. They're right. You are probably gonna use it, especially on these early years. I'm talking about a laminator. I have this Scotch one. I do want to say that when I first got it, I was so frustrated because I could not get it to like properly work. It kept malfunctioning, it kept jamming. And the trick, at least with mine, but if you have a Scotch laminator or any laminator that you are also very frustrated with, I can't rest the laminator sheet in this little thing. I have to hold it at an angle like this until it feeds it. It kind of takes it and goes by. And then once it's able to grab it, then I can just lay it down. Don't lay it like this and try to feed it because it'll just make a mess of your laminating sheet and whatever paper you're trying to laminate. Just a little hint because it was a headache for a while. But a laminator, so useful. I'm constantly printing out little practice sheets from Teachers Pay Teachers and laminating it. I have her name practice laminated and she just does it over and over there again, and we have some just dry erase markers that she'll use on everything I laminate. I also do little flashcards for our co-op. I laminate a lot of these things because a lot of kids are grabbing at the paper and they just won't last for the whole lesson. So I laminate a lot of things. So definitely laminator, totally worth it. And I just use the Amazon Basic laminator sheets. I haven't had a problem with them. Okay, I'm gonna do nature and then I'm gonna end up with books because we all love books. But nature. If you guys are a family that loves to go on to nature, explore nature is a big part of your homeschooling. That's kind of us. We're part of a forest little co-op school, and we do our nature curriculum and we go out. These have been so helpful. This first thing might not seem like it's any nature related, but when we go out exploring, that's what we call it when we go out into nature, hiking and just going to learn about different things. My son and my daughter need their explorer wings. So these are just butterfly wings. The one is pink and purple and they wear it in their backs. Just like that. Maybe I can insert a picture right here. And my son's is green. And these, when they're out exploring, they put these on, they're explorers. And I don't know, it makes them feel fancy and whimsical, and I love anything that will keep their childhood alive, keep their imaginations going. This is so helpful. These were from Target, from the full-size spot, but you can easily find these on Amazon, a bunch of places. Anything, you can even make this yourself. Just get a little piece of fabric and maybe you're a superhero if they're into this. My daughter just loves butterflies, so that's what we did. To go with that explorer theme, we have this monoculars, and I bought them Target full-size spot. They go out exploring. They have these in the wrist, and they're like looking out for birds. And like my son can't close one eye, and he doesn't really get it, but he will hold it, and he thinks he is discovering everything. So these are part of their explorer kit. They always have this on their hands when we go out, and it sparks their curiosity. Highly recommend. Another thing is they either walk out with them while we're exploring, or if they find something really cool, they'll both ask for their magnifying glass and they'll look at a leaf or look at the ants. These are great at just making them stop and look closely. We love going out into nature, and sometimes we're kind of like in a rush with a group and just walking, but when we go just us, I love to just take my time and be pointing out the noises we hear, what sounds we hear, birds, leaves, ants, crawling insects. So we love to just look, take it slowly and look, and these are really good to like slow them down and get them to notice little details. And they'll both grab their magnifying glass and they'll both be looking at and trying to see. These are great. And this is more for me, but if you have curious kiddos, I try to not use my phone that much when we are out in nature, just because I want them to know that nature is important and we're connecting. We're connecting with nature and disconnecting with the hustle and bustle and the noise. But they ask a million questions. What's that? What's that? What's that? I don't know. I'm learning a lot with our the curriculum, the nature curriculum we're doing. I'm learning so much. I have a lot of answers that I didn't have before, but when I don't know something, these little guides, we live in Florida, so this is the Florida nature set, but there's from pretty much every state, everywhere. These are field guides. Any pocket field guide, because I have big field guides, I have these big books, but I'm not carrying these big books around trying to reference them while we're out hiking and exploring. So I have these little pocket field guides. Comes with trees, the little field guide of trees and wildflowers, birds, and Florida wildlife. I feel the one that I reference the most by far is birds. They're so intrigued by birds. We're always watching for birds, and they're always asking what it is, and there's so many. So it's kind of like this. They're laminated so they can get wet and nothing's gonna happen, especially when you go out in nature. You want something that will last. But it has all the most common birds or flowers or trees and whatever, and it tells you the name. So when your kids ask, what's that? You can say, I don't know, let's look together. And we will try to find the bird all together and see what it is. So we're kind of also teaching them to research and look for answers. So I love these. Highly recommend to just, if you are out exploring, get a pocket field guide and take it with you. And even just giving one to your kids while they're walking, it will make them want to find what they have here. So they'll be looking around, trying to see, they're noticing things, which is really what we want them to do, to stop, notice, observe. Great. One more thing that's kind of nature related, but it stays home. A microscope. I know they're a little young, but I thought, I was debating on if they were too young for this or not. They're not. They're fascinated with this. I did look because especially my son still doesn't have down looking through like the eye, closing one eye and just looking through one eye. So I specifically looked for one that had a screen. You can adjust lighting and the focus. So this little thing, they use it so much. And this is very much independent. They asked me to set it up for them, but then they just use it. They first started and they still use this a lot. This little bug kit in Reston. We keep them here. Now it's all destroyed because it's been a while, but all the plastic is. So I got this little bug kit, and they'll put the bugs under the microscope and look at the tiny feet. They try to find their eyes. They're noticing the texture. They can spend so much time, both of them, just looking at the different bugs, moving them a little, trying to see all the detail. They love this. There's so many animals. I think we might be getting more. I just got these for this year to see how it went. There's like aquatic animals. There's so many animals, but any animal preserved in resin, just make sure they're not too thick. These are not too thick. See, they're not too thick because they have to fit under here. So yeah, these are barely fitting, but if it's too big, they won't fit under there. But they're enthralled, so fascinated by these. They will also just get paper and put it under here and see how the paper fiber looks. They love looking at their hands and looking at all the prints, and they're fascinated. Whatever they can find and they can stick under their leaves, whatever, they will just be forever just looking at it and just seeing the veins, seeing the little details. They love this. If you have little kids, this does wonders for their curiosity and their ability to just pause and observe. Highly recommend a microscope. I don't think a lot of people really think about microscopes like this for little kids, but they're great. And lastly, let's talk about books, because homeschoolers and books, right? I think they have to be a little bit book obsessed to homeschool, or maybe that's just me. I'm not going to talk about books that we're using with our curriculum. I'm not going to talk about curriculum because I feel like I've talked about those ad nauseum. Like, I talk about them so much. The curriculum, the books that we're using, we basically love everything we're using this year. But these are just things that are extra. The first thing that I'm going to talk about, we used, this is one of our main things for last year, for like early preschool, and it's been still a staple. We're not doing it as much this year, but we're still definitely doing. And my daughter asks for this all the time, and my son will too, will bring it to me and say more. So this is the book of animal poetry. Now, I feel like we're not really poetry people, but just the images in this book are beautiful. It's just so gorgeous. And every page has a different animal, and there's all kinds of animals in here. Let's see right there. See, it's just beautiful, beautiful pictures. And how we do this is we will read the poetry for one animal. So we'll read if it has like one poem or like a page, like we'll read whatever for one animal. We'll look at the pictures, kind of like we'll describe what we see, we talk about all the details that we see, and then I will go on YouTube and just find videos of that animal. I mainly look for the videos that are aimed for kids, so like butterfly for kids or manatees for kids. I always look that the animals are moving and they're doing their thing. And sometimes we listen. SciShow Kids is a really good one. There's a few channels that do a lot of animal videos for kids. Sometimes we'll listen to what they have to say, and other times it gets a little boring for them because I don't think, they're still little. So it's a lot of facts that they're not really interested, but we will still watch the video. I'll just lower the volume and we'll start narrating what they're doing. I was like, oh, did you see that frog, how it's jumping, and you see how high it jumped? And they'll be like, oh, and look, it's green or brown or whatever. We will just be talking about what we're seeing. Anytime the babies come up, they love the babies. We will talk like, oh, do they eat plants, or does that animal eat meat, or what do they eat, and do they lay eggs? And we just talk about the animals while we're watching the videos. And they both love animals. I feel like that's pretty universal. Most kids really love animals. So just having this book as a jumping off point to bring more animals and more fun and more videos into our homeschool has been really great. This book, this was also kind of like an impulse buy at Sam's Club. It's DK's Dr. Poonam Krishnan, You and Your Body, A First Look Inside the Human Body. This book has served us so well with so many different conversations. Anytime my daughter has a question about anything, like, about our bones or our eyes or whatever, this book has always had some really good graphics that I can use to explain. It's very kid-friendly, and it has flaps. You know kids love to lift flaps. So she's asked about the sound, what makes the sound in your body. So we talk about the heart, and we're constantly pulling this book just to answer her questions, and it's so good. It has so many different illustrations. It's engaging because of the flaps. Sometimes I do read what's in here, but most of the time we're just using the illustrations and kind of showing her, see, inside her body we have bones, because she'll go and she'll feel like, oh, I feel a bone, and I was like, yeah, you want to see how many bones you have, and we'll pull this. And it's just a really good thing to answer questions and start deeper conversations about different things in our bodies. Another thing that has been really great, kind of shifting gears a little bit to math, is this Math Start series. We have a few of their books. They're all different levels. They have a few levels. They're all about different topics, but they're all about something math. So this is like sizes, and it's a bug parade. You have one-on-one correspondence, steps, matching. It's all math topics, but down to their level, and it's all a story. So you're reading, my son got to this, but you're learning about all these math things, but through a story with cool illustrations. And there's so many in the series, there's so many. So I thrift these. So whenever I see one, if I see a good deal on thrift books about any of these, I just buy them. Because so far, they've loved every single one of these. I'm not a math person. I do not like math. It's not my forte. I do all the rest. I just don't like math. And I want to change that for my kids. I want math to be fun for them. So anything that I can find to make math fun, and this is one of them, I'm there. So the Math Start series by Stuart J. Murphy, really great. And if you have like older learners or younger learners, you can look at the different levels, and you can probably find a few that are geared right towards where they're at. Last thing, woo. So we read so many picture books through our library, through our curriculum. We read a lot. But one of the things that we just found randomly through our library, we checked it out, read the first one, and my daughter's been hooked on this series since then. It's been like over a year. She just loves these books, and I love that they're little chapter books, and we can read a chapter each night. The Mercy Watson series. She thinks these are hilarious, with this pig that they treat like a baby and doing all these crazy things. She loves these. These are right up her alley. So we just went ahead and got her the entire set, and we've read every single one of these, and she'll just pull one and ask me to read her a little bit. These are most of the time these are just at night in our own time. They're not really part of a curriculum or anything like that. But just to show you guys a little bit, they just have some wording and a picture that's kind of like the whole thing. And they're divided by short chapters, so she is able to sit through one chapter. She most of the time she wants more, but I try to keep it just a one chapter. So we'll do one chapter a day, and then she's looking forward to the next day, and the next day she's like, oh, can we read the next one now? So it's something she gets really excited about. And it's reading. I love reading, and I just want my kids to love reading. And when they're gravitating towards book, picking them out and just begging me to read it, it makes my heart happy. So if you have an early learner, and maybe look into the Mercy Watson series, go to your library, check them out, see if you like them. You don't have to buy books. The most invaluable thing you can get is a library card. There's endless books, endless supplies there. Get to know your librarians and ask them for recommendations. I feel like libraries are so underused. and they're just amazing. I would be broke without the library. So books, you can never go wrong with books, and libraries, they're free. So take advantage of it. Get your kids involved in the community and into libraries and loving books. That is all I have for today. I feel like that was a lot, but these are the things that we loved and we used time and time again. And we used a lot of other things, but I feel like these buys have been 100% worth it. I hope this was helpful somehow and that you gained something from it. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down below. And see you in the next one. Bye.